Welcome to another deep dive. We're looking at some key developments across Canada in early July 2025.
Yeah.
We've got a mix today: culture, economy, new policies, and some ongoing challenges. So let's kick things off with something big and vibrant. The Festival d'été de Québec, the FEQ. It starts today, July 3rd, runs till the 13th. Huge scale.
Oh yeah, huge. Over 150 shows, 6 stages.
And the headliners.
Right.
Rod Stewart, Shania Twain, Avril Lavigne, Ice Spice, Benson Boone, Hozier. It's quite the lineup.
It really is. And you know, what makes FEQ special, I think, is how it balances that huge international draw with a really strong Quebecois identity.
Yeah.
It's not just global stars.
Right.
It's also a platform for local artists, too. Creates this unique energy, really anchors the summer there.
That's a great point about cultural pull. And speaking of international dynamics, let's shift to the economy. Canada just made a pretty significant move, canceling its planned 3% digital services tax, the one aimed at U.S. tech giants. This was apparently to get trade talks with the U.S. moving again.
Exactly. The U.S. had threatened tariffs, talks stalled, and, well, Canada blinked, you could say.
Seems like quite a concession, though. What's the deeper strategy here? Is it just about avoiding tariffs?
Well, yes and no. It's less about just avoiding those specific tariffs and more about prioritizing the entire Canada-U.S. trade relationship. That relationship is obviously massive, way bigger than the potential revenue from this specific tax.
Okay, so protecting the bigger picture.
Precisely. And it really shows how much leverage the U.S. has in these talks. The policy changed fast once that tariff threat seemed real. Canada's signaling it wants trade flowing.
And you can actually see some ripples from these tensions, right? Like with Air Canada?
Yeah, that's a tangible example. Suspending the seasonal Toronto to Jacksonville route for the winter.
From November 2025 to March 2026.
Right. And they specifically mentioned reduced demand linked to these broader Canada-U.S. tensions.
Wow, so high-level trade disputes affecting vacation plans.
It shows how interconnected it all is.
Definitely. Now, shifting focus inward, Ontario's got a busy month policy-wise. 3 big things rolling out. First, Toronto's new rent-eviction bylaw. That's aimed at stopping those exploitative evictions.
Trying to curb landlords using loopholes to evict tenants just to hike rents significantly. It's a direct response.
Okay, and then there's the Digital Platform Workers' Rights Act.
Yes, for gig workers.
Right.
Giving them protections like minimum wage, keeping their tips, that sort of thing.
Bring in some traditional worker rights to the gig economy, finally.
Exactly. It's catching up, really. And the third,
The Federal Canada Disability Benefit. That's rolling out, too. Up to $200 a month extra for eligible low-income Canadians with disabilities.
right. These are all quite targeted, aren't they? Addressing specific vulnerabilities, like the rent eviction bylaw tackles a specific housing market issue head-on, proactive protection.
Yeah.
And the Gig Worker Act acknowledges this whole new sector needs, well, baseline rights. It shows a recognition that maybe the market isn't sorting these things out on its own.
True. But while we see policy progress, Canada's still, grappling with some really persistent challenges.
Yeah.
The 2025 wildfire season, for instance, it's still severe.
Sadly, yes. Over 4.3 million hectares burned across several provinces.
And the human cost. Over 40,000 people evacuated, at least 2 deaths reported. It's just devastating.
Yeah, it really is a massive environmental and human crisis that seems to be getting worse year by year.
And on a completely different front, but also concerning, there was that Global Live report investigating Canada's vaccine injury support program, finding issues with claims handling.
Yeah, the report highlighted concerns that claims for fair and timely compensation are allegedly being mishandled, which raises serious questions about accountability. You have these huge, complex challenges, the massive environmental crisis with the wildfires, and then these questions about the effectiveness and fairness of public support programs. It's a lot to navigate.
It certainly is. Okay, let's try to end on a slightly lighter note. Travel. If you're planning a trip in 2025, it seems Canadians are favoring Punta Cana, San Juan, and Tulum.
Ah, the warm escapes. Sounds about right. Joining Americans, Mexicans, and Dominicans heading to those spots.
Classic choices.
So as we wrap up, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. We've touched on festivals, major trade shifts, new social safety nets, ongoing environmental disasters, program accountability questions. What does this mix tell us? What do these snapshots altogether suggest about where Canada is right now and maybe where it's heading?
A lot to consider there. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.